Hello, hello. This is my second time recording this because I just did this whole thing and it didn't save, which is super fun. But hello, everybody. Looking forward to hearing about your trip tomorrow. I wish I could get out with you. Feeling better. The past couple of days have been yesterday and the other day were kind of sucked, but I just wanted to go over everything with you briefly to kind of set you up for success tomorrow. The cancel on Canvas, there's a module. It says week 10 Rancho Vista. This is everything that you need for tomorrow. Most of the stuff, if you plan on getting there at 9 a.m., Zach will have this for you. Everybody should be there by 9 a.m. Zach will be taking attendance. He's only going to stay there for about 20 or 30 minutes to pass out. He has GPSs. He has some bird books because all the bird books identification books that we've been using, I have in my truck still. So he has like 4 or 5 that will be handed out first come to groups. So in these groups, remember, groups of 4 or less. That is protocol that Dr. Hall and the museum use to limit human presence, noises and all that stuff in these groups. So if you are a group of 5, split up into 2. Can't have any groups more than 4, but we'll give those books out to each group. Hopefully you have the identification, the printouts that Dr. Hall gave last time. So I think there's this one that we gave and you could fold it up, and this is a nice little key that you can use. We'll get to that in a second. There's also, pull all these up because I just went through them all and canceled out of them. There's this printout that Dr. Hall gave of the most common birds. So if you don't have this, or if you lost this one, Zach will have a printout of this. I don't think we're going to have printouts of the other one. Please check and see if you have that, just so you have that as a resource. Okay. But if you have this, if you don't get one of the books, there are these 2 apps that you could use that are both really good, iBird and Merlin. They're kind of like iNaturalist style for birds to help you. And this will be good for those of you that are planning on going out by yourself or in smaller groups for the local mountains. There's a lot of the most common local birds that are found in there. Okay, so lots of different resources. Worst case, please take good quality notes of each bird, the details of it, so that way over the next week or 2 you can use those characteristics to ID. I say that because now we've been practicing our bird surveys for a few weeks now. That doesn't mean that I expect you to be like total birders, but you should be, when you're writing down bird observations, even if it's a quick flyby, you should be able to say more than small brown bird. Okay, so what did the beak look like? Was it straight? Was it curved? Was it short? Was it long? What was that proportion, body to tail or body to head proportion? Colors of feet, were there any wide or distinguishable characteristics on the head color wise that you could tell? These are all features that we could use. A lot of birds have markings underneath their wings. Anything that will help ID it, so I am trusting that you're at the point now that we can provide Dr. Hall with a little bit more details, descriptions of these birds, rather than just brown bird, small brown bird, right? And hopefully we can get as much as possible with as much detail as possible with the resources that we have. Okay, the sites. These are the sites. There's a map that's listed, just a screenshot on Canvas, and also Zach will have a printout of this, which is each site, the name, the lat and long, so you can have GPS coordinates. Zach's going to bring GPSs so you can find each location. And then I gave kind of rough notes on how to get to each one. This will have a map as well. As you'll see, this is where the parking lot is, right here. And this is where we walked with Dr. Hall, where the benches were. And this was our first site. We walked up here. This was our last site over by the main road. You can see the rest of these sites are spread out. You're going to be walking through they're all really on, designated trails or fire roads and stuff like that. I did a rough kind of measurement of the area, and it's a little less than 4 mile hike all the way around. But you should be efficient with your surveys and strategize the best way to do it. You probably don't want to like jump here and then jump there and jump here. One, because you're going to be walking a lot more, and two, you might kind of lose track of what you have done and what you still need to do. So try to be strategic with that. One thing I could see a lot of students doing though is staying here and then just going in the same circle. Okay. One thing that would happen is that means that you're going to have multiple groups or multiple people at that first station. One group per station, right? It kind of defeats the purpose of small groups if you have 2 or 3 small groups all in the same location. That's one big group. So if one group starts here, then the other one should maybe go down here. One can skip this and start up here, but there should be one group of 4 or less at every single location at one point in time, okay, during that 10 minutes. If you finish and your group is moving to the next site and you see a group still looking through their binoculars and they're doing surveys, you should stop and not approach them until they're done, right? We need to keep our distance. You'll know they're done. They'll put the binoculars down. You can see that they're writing, and then you can move forward. So be aware of that, and try to kind of coordinate. If everybody shows up at 9, you can kind of coordinate what directions to start. But once you do, you should kind of go in a groove of, getting going around. If you start one direction, you'll end back at the parking lot. I just wouldn't kind of do a diagonal thing unless you really want to hike and cover some ground. It is rattlesnake season. So rattlesnakes are usually good about letting you know that you're getting close, but be aware of that, especially in these trailheads. Wear closed-toed shoes, wear pants. If there's an emergency, dial 911. Like if it's a legit emergency. There's also a park ranger station here, and there's medical and stuff here if it's a more minor emergency. You get a cut or something like that. You have that emergency card, that laminated emergency card that I gave you in the beginning of class that has my number and Zach's number on it. You can call. I'll be around my computer all day and phone grading and doing stuff. So if you need anything, please let me know. It's expected that you'll be there at 9 a.m. and Zach will be there for about 20 minutes. And if you don't make it by then, you'll be marked absent, and you'll likely lose participation points for the day, because that means you didn't start in the morning and you kind of missed out on the bird time, right? The later you start, the less good quality bird surveys we're going to get. So 9 o'clock or less. And I apologize if I'm repeating anything, because I've already said this once and didn't record. So kind of losing track of stuff. If you do go early, please email me and let me know. That's part of our protocol, because it's not during class time. So I've got a couple of you that have emailed me already. I really appreciate it. If you are if you're going by yourself or going early, all need to take photos of each site. Every location, even if you're in a group, you should be taking a photo at each location. And every person should have their own individual photo. So it's not like one person in the group of 4 takes one and they share it with everyone. Everyone needs their own photo. It should be date, time, and date stamped. Not just to hold everyone accountable for doing these, but it's more so of making sure the field of view is this, everyone doing RSVB, everyone's kind of looking in the same field of view. So please make sure to do that. Make sure your phones are charged and ready to go for that. There is, in this map, there's kind of, everything's pretty labeled, so you shouldn't have too many problems getting around. We went over this, the logistics. There's this general point count instructions. This is the general one. Groups of 1 to 4, 1 10-minute survey per group, or per point count, sorry, per site. So that's, well, you have 10 minutes and 12 sites, that's 120 minutes, right? 2 hours. So depending on, you should get out earlier than a normal class anyways, much earlier, but whether that's a 3-4 hour day or closer to a 5-hour day depends on how you game plan and how you strategize and how efficient you are. Take a landscape photo at each site. We just went over that. Complete a data sheet. I'll go over that in a second. Have fun. Get outside. That's the logistics. Hydrated, stay safe, bring snacks, sunscreen, take breaks as needed, and prepare for moderate hiking out in the bush. It's going to be a beautiful day out there. So you have that resource. This is the data sheet. We've already gone through this. Zach will have printouts of this. You'll get 6 double-sided copies. So for your 12 sites, every site should just be one side, even if you don't see any birds, because you're going to have the site name, the dates, the start and end time. You don't want to get things mixed up. So for this site, you want to know you have the start time, end time, just for that site, the temperatures, the wind, and then this is the kind of rain. And I'll go over that in a second. Point number, you're going to be doing species. You don't need the code yet, but just write down the species. How it was detected, I'll go over that in a second. Most of yours are going to be V for visual. Some of you might know how to ID birds by song or call, which is C and S, but most of yours will be visual. How many, the distance from you to that bird. Most of you won't be able to get age. I can't really do age for most birds. And any comments. This is where you're writing down all the details of each bird that you have, okay? And you can write this down in anecdotal notes too. So every single person should have 12 of these. If you are in a group of 4 and one person sees a Western scrub jay and you don't have any birds on your list, you do not write down Western scrub jay, right? We just double counted at that point. So no birds is still data, but we don't want to add things that we did not see and bias the sampling. Okay, so it's only stuff that you saw, even if you're in a group. Cool, we have that, we have that. This is the protocol. This is the formal protocol for Santa Monica Mountains. We've gone over most of this a couple times, so we know what point counts are. I just want to go over a couple more details that we'll want to add. Make sure approaching the site, you're quiet, right? So like you don't want to talk all the way to the site and then say, okay, 10 minutes and then get quiet. You want to be quiet going up to the site. Someone should be timing. It should be exactly 10 minutes. If you see a bird cruise through at right after you do the stop clock and it stops and then, oh, a crow comes in, that bird does not get included into the data set. You can write it down in anecdotal notes, but that does not go in your data set. The count should occur within 2 meters of the actual point. Hopefully you should get within 2 meters of the point. Use your watch, conduct 10-minute surveys. You're gonna be doing species, the distance, estimated distance, flyovers. So if you have a flyover, the flyover point count station will be recorded. Yeah, so you can do a relative distance. Hopefully at those points, even if it's quick, you should try to make any type of the way it's flying, the behavior. Was it flying low to the ground, high to the ground? That could be a difference of birds, right? California towhees don't really fly up in the air. They're usually close to the ground. So be as descriptive as you can. These are the detection types, which we haven't really gone over yet, but you have like call, song, visual, or other. You're gonna mostly be other, but like everyone knows like a woodpecker sound, right? So if you hear a woodpecker, you might not know the species, but you can put woodpecker species sound or something. Or I guess that would be a other. Number of flocks, sex, age, you probably won't be able to do most of that. And then after the 10 minutes count period, after all the counts are complete for the day, review your data. Make sure you all take screenshots or photos of your data sheets before you leave. There's this Beaufort scale. You should bring your Beaufort card with you, the laminated one, but this is also a Beaufort scale. Then this is the PPT. So hopefully there's no rain or just mist or fog, but those are the codes that you'll put for that. Okay. I'll be around my phone if you need anything. Please give me a ring or Zach. Review all of this information before you go out. Make sure you check in with Zach. Make sure you get there by 9 a.m. It's really important. And yeah, have fun. I will see you next week, and we can go over this in more detail. But until then, yeah, enjoy. Take lots of photos, and see you next week.